Vanderbilt ribbon cutting. Right now, please welcome Chairman and CEO of SL Green Realty Corp., Mark Holliday.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is great to see you all here today. It's been a long time, and what a day, what a moment. Today, we celebrate a monumental achievement and a joyous occasion, the grand opening of 1 Vanderbilt Avenue. Rising proudly from the bedrock below to its pinnacle high above New York, 1 Vanderbilt is an architectural and engineering feat that shows what is possible in high-rise development, and it proclaims a bright future for the greatest city in the world. The completion of this spectacular project heralds a new era of aspirational skyscraper design. It's a building that strives to be a 21st century home for leading global companies and a responsible neighbor in a community that contains the highest concentration of the greatest landmark properties in New York City. Standing at 1,401 feet tall and encompassing 1.7 million square feet, 1 Vanderbilt offers an unparalleled package of amenities, next-generation office design, and a prime location right here at the doorstep to Grand Central Terminal. I can't describe how proud and humbled I am to deliver 1 Vanderbilt to this city on behalf of everyone at SL Green. What started as a grand vision and an ambitious undertaking turned into a 20-year odyssey filled with challenges, uncertainties, and obstacles. But we never wavered, ignoring all the naysayers, believing in the power of New York City and the importance of this mission. The path for non-as-of-right development in New York City is intentionally and appropriately an arduous one. For this important site, the civic process ensured that the permanent marker would be harmonious with its surroundings, respectful of the natural and built environments, and a beacon for progress that would spark the revitalization of East Midtown. And I believe 1 Vanderbilt Avenue is all of that and more. We couldn't have done it without the city's leadership, starting first in the Bloomberg administration, but coming to fruition thanks to Mayor de Blasio, then Deputy Mayor Alicia Glenn, and Planning Chair Carl Weisbrod, who's with us today, and former Council Member Dan Garodnick, also with us. Smartly and the project was not possible without that process and without that support. Smartly and rightly, the city, the state, and the community bargained for an unprecedented $220 million of private investment to transform the public realm in and around Grand Central Terminal. What we have delivered will help ease congestion and overcrowding on the subway platforms, improve pedestrian circulation, and create new access points in the MTA's railroads and subway lines. The result of this unprecedented public-private partnership will benefit New Yorkers for decades to come, a great gift to New York City, the place that has given so much to so many of us. We owe a huge debt of gratitude to Pat Foy and Jano Lieber and everyone at the MTA for being extraordinary partners every step of the way on this complicated project. 1 Vanderbilt is an example of transit-oriented development at its best, putting density where density belongs, alongside what will soon be the busiest and most traffic transportation hub in New York City. And designing a modern skyscraper blending with its historic surroundings is no easy task. But fortunately, we had KPF's Gene Cohn and lead design architect Jamie von Klemperer right there by our side and on our team. What Jamie and Gene design is simply breathtaking. A light, transparent base that opens up views of Grand Central Terminal that have not been seen in more than a century. Soaring diagonals that cantilever over plazas and widen sidewalks. a tapered form that is prominent at the podium, but delicate in the sky. And at the top, One Vanderbilt's crown punctures the sky with flair, a beacon that can be seen throughout the region, an homage to New York's greatness, past, present, and future. Working with Gene and Jamie, artisans and creative geniuses, at the very top of their profession, what a true pleasure it was. With the building designed to be the perfect canvas, we then aspired to achieve new standards for interior design, technology, and wellness. Today, discerning businesses expect a much higher value proposition in choosing a headquarters location. The space must help attract and retain the best talent, cater to clients and customers, and provide for flexible and efficient office space. One Vanderbilt answers this calling and sets an example for future Midtown development with soaring ceilings, column-free spaces, large full-floor windows that allow natural light to penetrate all the way to the building's core. That is the new age of high-rise development, and that's what we should demand of our new buildings in New York City. The tenant response affirms One Vanderbilt's position as the premier address in New York City as we welcome leading global companies who have already secured their futures at One Vanderbilt. I'd specifically like to thank the leadership at TD Bank, Bharat Masrani and Greg Braca here today, Greg, for agreeing to temporarily relocate, told you it would just be a short period of time, and then commit to being One Vanderbilt's first anchor tenant. Thank you for taking that early and important leap with us. Of course, nothing is complete in New York City without great food. That goes without saying, and our longtime friend and partner, world-renowned chef Danielle Boulud, has us covered. Danielle's new casual fine dining restaurant, Le Pavillon, will soon welcome its first patrons in a stunning combination of architecture, nature, and food, and in addition to other food options that are going to be catered exclusively to tenants. This is an incredible boost for East Midtown. It's an incredible new venue for the restaurant industry. It's going to be a huge boost for that industry come, right after the new year when we open this restaurant. Thank you, Chef. This has really been an extraordinary personal journey for me, culminating at this moment, 30 years after embarking on a career in New York real estate. It is a true privilege to have worked alongside some of the greatest minds in the industry and some of the deepest talents in real estate. As my longtime friend and partner, Andrew Mathias, stated in the opening video, there are a lot of fingerprints on this landmark project, and I want to acknowledge some of the key partners without whom One Vanderbilt is simply not the building that stands here today. Hines has been with us from the very beginning. I remember the meeting we had with Gerald Hines, a true legend and visionary of our industry. Even in his 9th decade, Jerry flew up to New York and fell so in love with One Vanderbilt that he not only became our development partner, he also became a personal investor. Jerry sadly is no longer with us, but he would be proud of what Tommy Craig and his team at Hines have helped to achieve here at One Vanderbilt. Tommy's years of experience building complex projects in New York was critical at One Vanderbilt. He, Chris Hughes, and the entire Hines team really showed their talent here. This is a project that was built on a global scale, and the results have been recognized around the world. We are proud to have financial stakeholders from near and far, including our distinguished joint venture partner, the National Pension Service of Korea. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for being with us from the beginning. And I want to mention the global banking firms led by Wells Fargo, TD Bank, the Bank of China, with whom we've done so much, JP Morgan, and the Bank of New York, all there, to make things like this happen in good times and bad. And it really came together well for this particular project. and we can't wait to do more of the same when we take the group down to 1 Madison and do it again. But the development team often is the one that gets the credit. But the 100% unionized workforce, they're the ones that built the building, and they are the true credit makers, not the credit takers. Over the past 5 years, more than 3,000 union construction workers came together to make this engineering feat a reality. We were fortunate to have the most talented and skilled and trained tradespeople working on 1 Vanderbilt. They worked at dizzying heights in challenging conditions, 12 months every year for about 4.5 years to the highest standards in the world. We admire their courage, skill, grit, and fortitude in accomplishing something that most of us would find absolutely impossible to execute. They are truly New York tough. The elite construction workforce was led by Acom Tishman, a builder of skyscrapers around New York that includes the World Trade Center and now also includes 1 Vanderbilt. Rob Blackman, Mel Raffini, Brian Vincenz, and Joe Ross, they managed and coordinated over 50 subs on the job, and through great effort and oversight, they completed the job ahead of schedule and under budget, a rare triumph on jobs that are even just a fraction of this size. This accomplishment is even more astounding considering that the job was mostly suspended for a 2-month period due to the coronavirus. Can't imagine the disruption for build projects like this and across the city, that the winding down and restarting of the project, it took a toll on everybody April, May, June, and yet somehow miraculously they met their dates. It was really just through hard work and perseverance, and most importantly, the job was completed safely, with no fatalities or life-threatening injuries, even overcoming the final challenge posed by COVID-19. And finally, I want to thank the hardest working real estate team in the business, the men and women of SL Green. For 17 years, I've had the honor and privilege of leading the finest group of real estate professionals in New York, each and every one of whom has played a significant role in the making of 1 Vanderbilt. 1 Vanderbilt has become a defining project for my company and our employees who swell with pride, especially today. Working extended days, nights, and weekends, the SL Green team did whatever necessary to get the job done. It's what we do. Leading the charge on the construction was Ed Pickenich and his construction heads Robert DeWitt and Anthony Shembri. Harry Olson excelled as project exec extraordinaire, and Robert Schiffer flourished in his debut role as development chief. Steve Durrells and Neil Kessner led the effort to fill the building with premier tenants, while Heidi Gillette handled the marketing, and Andy Levine piloted the myriad of transactions that it took to get to this point. I also want to thank the company founder, Steve Green, and the rest of the SL Green board for your unwavering support over the years. Of course, there were many others at Green who contributed mightily, and to everyone, Andrew and I are thankful for your efforts and your commitment. It's no coincidence that back in June, SL Green was the first company in the city to go back to 100% work from office. And that's a level we've maintained right up to this date. New York City is our home and core to our success over the past 20 years. As our city continues to recover from the pandemic, we are proud that 1 Vanderbilt's completion and opening is a physical reminder of New York's resiliency. The city has been written off many times before and has always rebounded stronger than ever. The city's future is SL Green's future, and we have enormous conviction that its underlying spirit and fundamentals will continue to set New York apart as the greatest city in the world. 1 Vanderbilt, it's finally ready to shine, and its opening today marks a new day for New Yorkers. So thank you to everyone for joining us on this special day, both here and in the plaza and everybody watching remotely. I want to especially recognize the elected officials and other government leaders with us today who have helped to guide New York through the pandemic. Mayor de Blasio, who will be joining us momentarily, Councilmember Keith Powers, Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer, Economic Development Corporation President James Patchett, State Senator Liz Kruger, FDNY Commissioner Dan Nigro, and NYPD Chief of Department Terrence Monahan, MTA Police Chief Joe McGran, Deputy Mayor for Economic Development Vicki Bean. Thank you all for being here and for joining us on this unbelievable day. And thank you for everything that each of you have done to provide leadership during this uncertain time. May we look forward to better times ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and it's hard to find the words today for all of us who've been so involved with this project. Our hearts are beating a little faster as we sit in this amazing plaza. So I want to take just 3 minutes to tell a little bit of the tale of this design. How and why did it take this form? First of all, as an architect, you have to form the brief. What are the aspirations for the project? These aspirations were set first by Mark Holliday, Andrew Mathias, and his team, who said, come and design the best office building in New York. No, the best office building in the world, and we want it to be the heart of this neighborhood and change this, our home here in Midtown, with one building. Next, there was the bar set by city planners, by Amanda Burden, and later Carl Weisbrod, working with Edith Su Chen, who said, we've launched this idea now of changing East Midtown, in particular this Vanderbilt corridor. This will be the pilot project. This will be the talisman. And indeed, look at what is happening not only on this site, but down Vanderbilt. Look at the plaza you're inhabiting, all coming from that vision from the city. And then came Hines, Tommy Craig and his group, insisting that we would build this building better quality. Look at the details. Look at this bronze. We will build it faster. We'll build a smarter performing building than anything that we, Hines, know, and Hines is one of the champions of building office buildings around the world. So Tommy and his group, working with Akon Tishman, with Robbie Blackman and others, and as Mark mentioned, with unions, with great engineers of Severid at JBNB, they actually achieved this. It's a super high quality building. It looks like it should cost twice the price. It came in under budget. Great deal of skill. And no, by the way, no bones were broken. Here, this doesn't happen. Not this, so many developers as nice as Mark Holliday to work with, but we live to tell the tale. And then setting the bar finally is my partner and the founder of our firm, Gene Cohn. Gene, founding the firm 45 years ago, had built and commanded the design of the tallest buildings in Paris, in Hong Kong, in Beijing, in countless cities around the world, making our mark to say that the high-rise could be the catalyst for great urbanism. And so working under Gene, Nick Dunn, our project manager, our partner Jeff Kenoff, Trent Tesh, Andrew Cleary, and Darina Zlatieva, and many others, including the young Stephen Smolin, who looked after all the details, who went to Home Depot to buy some outlet covers this morning that were missing. And at the end of topping off, he went to the top with his girlfriend. He proposed to her. Now she's his fiancée, the day of topping off. So good things happen with great development. So now just a minute about the design. We charged ourselves with this challenge. both simple yet profound, to connect the ground to the sky through the taper of the building, the jostling of diagonal forms. The building pinwheels into a natural culmination of the single point, which then speaks of this hypercentrality of the belt of Manhattan of 42nd Street meeting the spine of the corridor of Madison and Park. There is no site like this in terms of its centrality. Speaking of central, really the fundamental brief for the building was to defer and gesture towards Grand Central Terminal behind you. So the building, with a massive cantilever of steel, opens up the base of the densest building, which becomes an open structure below, a permeable building that brings public space in the plaza, which was a dingy alleyway, really, into a wonderful space, and then the transparency into the train hall, public space, into the lobby, into Daniel Bulud's restaurant, says this building is for the public and for the people. And even, finally, in the details and materials of this building, the terracotta, which you see in horizontal stripes going up the building, harkens back to the Warren and Wetmore building behind you of 1913, its terracotta inside, being its trademark, really. And then the bronze, which you see in front of you, the delicacy of that detail, recalling that richness of the mothership of the greatest transit building in the world, Grand Central. So it's really amazing to be with you here today. I'm so glad, again, we're not doing this by Zoom. We're seeing you face to face. And congratulations to all, and thank you for being our partners and to allow us to do what probably will never be repeated in our lives, the greatest project in the city of New York. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, President and CEO, TD Bank, Greg Braca.
You think I'm feeling older and missing my younger days? Oh, then you should have known me much better. 'Cause my past is so.
Good morning, I guess almost good afternoon at this point. Great to be here. Mark, I got to tell you, I had some prepared notes, but it's hard not to be fired up here after seeing this thing completed and topped off firsthand. But watching the opening video and hearing, your passion about this project, you and Andrew, and obviously working with your teams along the way, it really does get the blood pumping this morning. So it's great to be here. Mayor de Blasio, I understand, is going to be here. Many of the elected officials, police commissioner. It's great to see everyone here, out and about in person. I couldn't agree more. Special recognition to the whole planning team to put this event together here this morning. Again, it's great to get some of us New Yorkers live, not on WebEx or Zoom, in person. We're thrilled to see that the entire SL Green team kept the momentum, as you mentioned, right through the COVID. And what a tough time it's been for all of New York. And to keep this building on time and under plan, under budget, we couldn't be more excited. As a lifelong New Yorker and someone who was born and raised in the Bronx my entire life, it really is great to see the importance of the revitalization of this whole Grand Central corridor, and just as importantly, what this building means to all of New York City. As the largest tenant, I guess Andrew mentioned, I'm speaking on behalf of all of the tenants, some of which are up on the higher floors in the building, with over 300,000 square feet, 318,000 to be precise, that TD is taking across all of our divisions here in the building. We couldn't be more excited, and we're clearly all in as a tenant and as one of the lead banks for the financing of this $3 billion project that Mark mentioned earlier. It also signifies the growth of TD as one of the largest banks over the last decade in the U.S., but just as importantly, our commitment and long-term commitment to New York City right here in our backyard. Our space, yeah, I agree. Our space will create a modern, client-facing campus for customers, community, and our employees that will enhance our brand, certainly. It's unimaginable that we're now ready for the build-out of our space at 1 Vanderbilt inside now that we'll eventually, in the coming months, call home. Everyone involved with the project team deserves a special round of applause and recognition. It really is amazing to pull this thing off. And I know long-term, our customers and employees will come to think of this space and this building the way I do already, that this is the best location in the best building in New York City. We couldn't be more excited about it. Thank you very much. New York, here we go. It's on to the next chapter. Thank you very much.
From the MTA, Chief Development Officer, Jano Lieber.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here today representing the MTA. I'm Jano Lieber, President of MTA Construction and Development. It's no secret to any of us that these days there's a little whiff of pessimism about New York's future in the air. And this project is proving the opposite is true. That with thoughtful policy and aggressive implementation and the kind of development team that Mark's comments celebrated, that we can solve the kinds of big challenges that the city faces today. For years, experts talked about the aging of East Midtown's office stock and the erosion of the area's competitiveness. We needed to do something to make sure we were leveraging the area's unparalleled transit access to create a truly dynamic environment for 21st century business. That's our future as New Yorkers. This project shows that the response, the broad-based East Midtown rezoning, is working exactly as planned by everybody in the city and other levels of government. I'm so proud the MTA team was able to work with SL Green and the City Department of City Planning. This project was the first to truly utilize the bonusable public space and transit investments created by that East Midtown rezoning. And working with SLG and the design team, we came up with a design that really delivers on the vision of a transit investment that not only helps commuters, but actually helps fuel the resurgence of an entire district. A strong working relationship between the MTA and private sector developers is good for everyone. My old friend Jim Whalen of Rebney is here and will attest to that. Mass transit is key to the city's business model, and access to all those commuter railroad and mass transit lines right here at Grand Central, including our busiest line, the Lex line, which carries as many people every day as the entire Boston mass transit system. Access to all of that mass transit is a huge attraction for the companies that have already decided to make one Vanderbilt home, and others that are sure to do so in the future. This creates value for the private sector, jobs for New Yorkers, and the investment benefits the MTA by ensuring continued growth in ridership and revenue. Grand Central's status as New York's definitive transit hub is going to grow further once the long-awaited East Side Access Project, the project that's going to put an 8-track railroad terminal, Long Island Railroad terminal, right into the basement of this building, once that project is finished in just 2 years. And in addition to the beautiful new transit hall that was integrated into One Vanderbilt, we've also been working with SLG and everybody on this project to dramatically improve the Grand Central subway station, expanding the mezzanine and platforms, adding entrances, stairways, and elevators, modernizing the finishes. This is all part of Governor Cuomo's 42nd Street Connection project, which I'm proud to lead, which includes many projects, including the renovation of the 100-plus-year-old 42nd Street shuttle. We're all confident that this area is going to thrive, despite the challenges brought on by COVID-19. I spent 14 years on the rebuilding of the World Trade Center, another area that was at one time written off by real estate mandarins. In those years, we had a mantra, never bet against New York. It applies here. This project is more proof of that wisdom. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. It's so great to see everybody, and I want to start by just congratulating the team here at SL Green and Mark and everyone for not only bringing this project to life, but for their work with the community during this project to make sure that they were involved in this process and that we could have a project that the community would really support, and I will tell you they do, and I really want to congratulate you on that. And I want to thank all of my fellow elected officials here who worked on this project, but I want to take just a minute to acknowledge someone who really made this happen. See, I get to come to the ribbon cutting, but it's really my predecessor who did the hard work here, and that's my friend and my predecessor, Dan Garodnick, who's here as well today. We get to, as elected officials, sometimes see the fruits of the work that we get done, and so I'm glad Dan's here to be part of this, but this is really sort of a historic and monumental moment, not for just Midtown, but for New York City. The East Midtown rezoning, which was the sort of structure that kicked this process off, was a opportunity to modernize Midtown, but not only just to say we should build more density and add more people, but that for the first time we should really connect the growth that's happening here to public space and public transportation. And this project is really the culmination of that work and the major kickoff to what's ahead here in Midtown. We have today, as this is the first project to accomplish that, we now have open space right here that's outside and open for New Yorkers to enjoy. And I'll tell you, open space right now is a commodity that we're all so happy and proud of. We have tremendous improvements here at Grand Central, helping all of us to get around a little easier. And we took a tour here, I guess about a year ago, and it looked nothing like this. But now I know that whether you live in New York City, Long Island, or anywhere in the region, this is going to be one of your central places to get to work every single day. And now we have a new addition to the skyline, a new addition to Midtown. And we're also happy at a really difficult moment in our city to actually have some good news and to be cutting the ribbon on a major project which will bring jobs to New York City, continue growth right here in Midtown. We're excited to have TD Bank and all the other tenants that will be here, and we welcome you back. I think they're across the street, so we welcome you to cross over, but happy to have them here as well. And this is just one big signal of what's ahead in New York City. And I'll just end on this note. There are going to continue to be stories about the death of New York City and the slowing growth, but for those who believe or aspire for New York City to be dead, today is a message that it still has a heartbeat. And the greatest city in the world isn't something you get to achieve and then go away and sit aside. You have to continue to invest in it. You have to continue to modernize on it, and you continue to have an imagination about New York City. And that is what today is about. So thank you to SL Green. Thank you to everybody who made today happen. I see my friend Fred Cirillo way in the back as well. I know he's very excited about this. So thank you to everybody for being part of this today. It is nice to see everybody in person again, but more importantly, nice to be part of a new story in New York City. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer.
From Mr. 305 to Mr. Worldwide.
Thank you very much. So those of you who know me know that I am not the #1 development supporter in the world. But you know what? One Vanderbilt is the best building, and I'll tell you why. Let me be very specific. It's so great that when I have other developers coming forward for ULURP, I say, you know what? You're not as nice as Mark Holliday. You're not as terrific as his team. Why don't you learn from them? They gave us tours of what it was going to be several times in the subway. They were welcoming in terms of working to make sure that Grand Central was done correctly early on. Very interested in this beautiful plaza way before the challenges we face in terms of COVID. Whether it is the pandemic or the economic crunch, this is a huge celebration right here on 42nd Street, and it really is the future of New York City in more ways than we could ever list. Building something that will last for decades at its root, it's an act of faith. It's an act of hope, and in this case, it was 100% successful. Mark, you deserve so many accolades for bringing this project to fruition, and I appreciate that you meant so many people on your team because they were all phenomenal. What I love about the MTA, So it is much thanks to the city and to Dan Grodnick that East Midtown was successful. But you led the way in terms of subway and in terms of open space. And what I love about it is you brought the MTA to you, but with East Midtown, and Jano, maybe this was before you, but at first the MTA didn't want to come to the meetings. But when they heard that development could pay for everything, they never missed a meeting and they never missed a phone call, and we couldn't get rid of them. So thank you, Mark, for that also. You have many things. And thank you, I want to thank the chef, because this is a great restaurant. You know, I'm from the Upper West Side. He has a restaurant across from Lincoln Center. And every time he sits at a table there, he decides how the table should look, high, low seating. And then, of course, I get an email from whomever he's sitting next to telling me what he is saying at that moment. So thank you, Chef, because you do understand New York. And I really want to thank 32BJ because, Kyle, it's wonderful that you're here, and it's wonderful that it was a union job. That's why it's so great. Congratulations. There are many things to be thankful for today. This is not just an office building, it's a development that heralds a new era in East Midtown. It sets a standard for private investment in public infrastructure. You really made the bar very high. And I have to say, as borough president, participating in the One Vanderbilt, it was a benefit for the entire community, the millions that poured into Grand Central Terminal, in the subway, in the streetscape. Now I'm going to talk about the bathroom. There's a new transit hall with benches and restrooms. And let me tell you, we fought for that bathroom to be public. You have no idea how many telephone calls and meetings, and I'm so delighted. So now every other building that comes to us, I again say, Mark Halliday produced a bathroom. What the hell is wrong with you that you can't produce a bathroom? So the transit hall is wonderful. It'll help reduce sidewalk crowding. And the subway station below us, as you heard from Jano, got new mezzanines, exits, and stairways, so the Lexington line and the shuttle can accommodate thousands more passengers per hour, and they will be back. They'll come to One Vanderbilt, they'll come to Midtown, and they'll come to New York City. This has always been, as the Grand Central Partnership knows, and as Fred Cirillo knows, a neighborhood star for open space. So this beautiful pedestrian plaza, which is going to be open to the public, not just for the tenants, is a huge amenity for our city. So with the development of One Vanderbilt, we all, but mostly you, have achieved major improvement for everyone living, working, and passing through this great neighborhood. This is one of the, hopefully many in the future, but certainly the best state-of-the-art buildings that will complement historic gems, Grand Central Terminal and others along this corridor. We must preserve the character and history of the neighborhood while finding opportunities to modernize the area and deliver significant public benefits, and that's what One Vanderbilt has done. So when development is done carefully and collaboratively, Carl Weisbord understood that, Vicki understands that, but you have to keep saying it over and over. It produces real investments in public realm. It improves the neighborhood, and everyone wins. So thank you, One Vanderbilt. Thank you for the bathroom. I will use it religiously. Thank you. Great article in the New York Post today.
President 32BJ SEIU, Kyle Bragg.
What it is, but I got that feeling. Waking up in this bed next to you is where the
Good afternoon. Again, I'm Kyle Bragg, and I'm proud president of 32BJ SEIU. Union is the largest property service union in the country, and we have 175,000 members in 12 states and Washington, D.C. Whom, 85,000 of them who are essential workers who live and work right here in New York City. I'm pleased to be here today for the opening of One Vanderbilt. I'd like to congratulate SL Green and its chair, CEO Mark Halliday, for an incredible job that they've done here and for a productive partnership we have grown and we've been able to build over the past years, and their commitment to our members here in New York City. I want to also acknowledge and thank our public partners in this project, Councilmember Keith Powers for his continued support, Borough President Gail Brewer, for standing with us and helping us make this project and opportunities it provides a reality, and Mayor de Blasio for his leadership in the East Midtown rezoning, recognizing that we need to create new opportunities in our historic business districts without compromising the well-being of workers. Even as our city continues to cope with the incredible crisis and challenges of COVID-19 pandemic, it is heartening to see a project like One Vanderbilt come online. As we rebuild New York's real estate market, we are proud to work with forward-thinking partners like SL Green to bring about development that creates good jobs and allows cleaners and building workers alike, our members, to build prosperity here in New York. Not only is One Vanderbilt a welcome addition to buttress Midtown Manhattan, a place as one of the top central business districts in the world, but the way it was built and it will be operated raises standards for human sustainability, something much needed now and in the future. One Vanderbilt earned the LEED certification through its commitment to measures such as the use of recycled materials in its structure, ultra-high efficiency restrooms, as Gail had mentioned, and rainwater collection to reduce water usage. As well as certifying building, One Vanderbilt also incorporates systems that optimize elements such as light and air quality to support the health and wellness of those who use the building, and a commitment to use green cleaning supplies, which safeguards the health of workers, including our members. As we have learned this year, we can no longer wait to change our work environment to keep us healthy and benefit our environment. This thinking must be baked into every new project that is built in New York. One Vanderbilt shows how unions, business, and public sector can come together to create first-class projects that are good for business and good for workers. Once One Vanderbilt opens doors, our members will proudly support its operations. As we do in thousands of commercial properties in the city, we thank SL Green for being good partners throughout the years and making good projects that are good for workers. Thank you so much.
At this time, please direct your attention to our video screens to hear about the initiative taken by SL Green Realty Corp. And Chef Danielle Balud to help feed emergency service workers and our neighbors who have limited access to food by partnering with restaurants throughout New York City.
Food First was an initiative started during COVID to provide free meals to the most vulnerable New Yorkers. We have served more than 350,000 meals, and it has been the most rewarding experience for all the restaurants. It gave them an opportunity to bring back their staff, support their suppliers, and to support the community.
Partnering with SL Green as a landlord is, I think, a unique experience because it really is a partnership. Food First initially called and asked if we wanted to participate. I jumped at it right at the beginning because I thought that this was going to be a great way for us to serve the communities in New York. The ability to be able to rehire my team is heartwarming in a way that's hard to explain. 50 of our team members have been rehired as a direct output of this program. And the moment that we assembled our first bowls, knowing that we were making a difference, was a very moving personal moment. We have provided 58,375 meals, which we're extremely proud of.
During my time as a council member in the South Bronx, one of my priorities is bringing meals to those most vulnerable populations. A lot of our issues or outcomes of our health disparities has to do with the quality of access to food that residents such as mine have. I represent a very unique community, but I also represent a very poor community. Food inequality has always been one of the barriers and challenges. My office has been doing food drives. When COVID hit, I realized that these lines get bigger and bigger and bigger. My dad got infected with COVID. It was the nurses who were with my dad holding his hand. For the first responders, working 12-hour shifts, going food shopping was a challenge. These high-level chefs come and prepare these meals and give them out to the community is very rewarding.
The inspiration from doing the work with the Food First Foundation did make me want to accelerate, because you see that food insecurity is a big issue. I figured I can go in and serve that community and provide jobs and growth and be a better part of the future.
And I'm excited that on Monday, we will receive 2,000 meals from Food First, and half of those meals will be going to those essential workers. It was partners such as Food First who helped us bring gourmet hot meals to residents in the South Bronx. I really want to thank SL Green for their initiative and their partnership.
SL Green has included a donation card in each of your gift bags. And on behalf of all of the restaurants participating in SL Green, we ask that you please donate today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chef Danielle Boulud.
Come out, don't start caring about me now. Walk away, you know how.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Mark, thank you. I am quite humbled by the magnitude of this project, and but I'm also so proud, and I have certainly the most amazing kitchen coming soon on the second floor. Thank you, Mark, for your astounding generosity and leadership, not only for building the most impressive tower in the heart of New York, but also for establishing Food First Foundation when our city needed it the most. And I remember in the middle of April, early after we closed all our restaurants and your tenant closed down, you called me and said, Danielle, we need to do something. Can you be with me? And this initiative has been so rewarding for me and my team, and I think every one of you tenants in Manhattan. And as you just saw, not only they have served more than 340,000 meals to date between all the tenants of SL Green around Manhattan and myself. I think I pushed about 110,000 meals, so that was good, and we keep pushing. But your goal is not that only, is to go to the 500 and go to the million meals and continue to raise money to make Food First a strong support to New Yorkers. Like many food tenants at SL Green, we are very thankful, and I am so proud to be your partner in this new venture for that. It really shows not only the gratitude and the generosity you have toward your city, but also toward your employees, toward your tenant, and toward me as well. Today, we are here for some happy news, which I am here truly grateful to be part of the opening of One Vanderbilt. I'm so impressed by the effort, determination, and creativity it has taken to keep this project on course during such complicated time. And I remember every time I go to One Vanderbilt, I will see the clock with the countdown. And congratulations, because you maintained that countdown pretty well. My team and I are so proud to announce a new restaurant, and I think the New York Times just broke the news as well. The new restaurant, Le Pavillon, by Danielle Boulud. And this restaurant will be also a nod to the past and certainly a look to the future. And we have, the restaurant will be facing the south wing of the building and facing as well Grand Central. The vision of the pavilion will create an oasis of hospitality and excellence in a bustling midtown Manhattan. With nature, we will live into the architecture. And that's, I think, has always been the goal for Mark, to make sure that the beautiful architecture will have also, such as this park, beautiful nature. I'm very grateful to the support of my team. Some of them are here, the CEO of our company, Sébastien Silvestri, the CFO of our company, Brian Diamond, the Director of Operations, Michael Lawrence, and also the corporate chef Fabrizio Salerni, Jean-François Bruel, and Gennaro Cocciolino, who has all contributed not only to help me build this new restaurant with the SL Green team, but to prepare lunch for you as well today. So you'll enjoy that right after this. We look forward to welcome you all at Le Pavillon in early 2021. And I wish you bon appetit after this ceremony. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please welcome the Honorable Mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio.
Thank you, everybody. Well, let me tell you, talk about a tough act to follow going after Danielle. And let me just thank you at the outset for everything you've done for New York City. Not just this year of challenges, but for many years. And sometimes someone epitomizes that wonderful reality about New York City where people come from all over the country, all over the world here, make this place their own, become a part of us, and then help to make us even greater. In a small way, that was my immigrant grandparents from southern Italy. In a very prominent way, that's Danielle. And Danielle, thank you, and thank you for the extraordinary effort you and your team have made to feed New Yorkers who need help. Let's give him another thanks for that extraordinary, great work. Everybody, this is cause for celebration today. This is an amazing moment. This is a powerful moment because it's a reminder of the strength of New York City. It's a reminder of our resiliency and where we are going in the future. As you listened to Danielle, you did not hear any sense of what couldn't be, only what could be. And that is what has made New York great for generations, and that spirit is alive and well. Now, Mark, I want to say to you and your whole team and everyone at SL Green, I just want to congratulate you today. You and I spoke a long time ago about this vision, and I had the honor of then being here for the groundbreaking. So I've been with you every step of the way. And I admire the resolve, the way you have every step of the way said, we're going to get this done, we're going to make it work just the way we envision it. I thank you for your commitment to New York City. I want to give you a special thanks. We talked about this a few days ago, the fact that your employees are all back in your office, showing that something big is happening, the comeback is happening. So thank you. And to everyone, look, we are celebrating one extraordinary site, one extraordinary building. We're celebrating this beautiful plaza, but we're celebrating something much greater. This is one of the first and most tangible signs of the rebirth of New York City, right here today. And everyone who has been a part of this is contributing to that rebirth. I want to thank all the elected officials who are here, Senator Liz Krueger and Borough President Gail Brewer and Councilmember Keith Powers. Thank you for all the great work you do. Thank you for all you're doing to sustain communities as we make this comeback. I want to thank the members of my team who have been devoted to this project and so many other major elements of New York City's rebirth. Our Deputy Mayor, Vicki Bean, the President of the Economic Development Corporation, James Patchett, Fire Commissioner, Dan Nigro, Chief of the Department of the NYPD, Terry Monahan. I want to thank our colleague from the MTA, Jano Lieber, and this is a great day for the MTA as well. Thank Kyle Bragg and all the hardworking men and women in labor who have made this possible and will continue to make this building great as it opens. So look around you, this beautiful site. And this is a place that every day, historically, right in this area, hundreds of thousands, even millions of people have made it their habit year after year to come right through here because it's been the heart of New York City and it will be that heart going forward. And this beautiful building will be a new symbol and a reminder to people of what this place has. And I want everyone to say, it's not just that we love this place. We do. We love New York City. We stand up for New York City. If anyone has a problem with New York City, they have a problem with all of us. But it's more than that. Why is this happening here today? Because this building was the result of a lot of talent, a lot of energy, a lot of vision. These are the things we associate with this city. These are the elements of our greatness. You will not find more talent anywhere in the world. You will not find more creativity or spirit or resiliency anywhere in the world, literally. And that's on display here, and it is a reminder not just of what we have been, but what we will be. This energy is undiminished. In fact, in the toughest times, New Yorkers have shown their ability to fight back. There's a classic phrase, and it refers to New York City. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. And here today, you see a great symbol, New York City rising again. Now, it's not only the meaning of this building and the beauty of this building, it's also that this building symbolizes a true commitment to New York City. Because of the partners in this project, almost $250 million of subway improvements were achieved as part of the building of this great building. $250 million almost, that's real money, my friends. And for all the millions and millions of New Yorkers who over the years will use the subway here, they will have a better experience because of a public-private partnership that worked. And we want to see a lot more of this going forward. So here's what I can say about this city. This city doesn't just survive tough times, we transform. We find ways to learn and grow and get better, and we will do that again. Today we celebrate that. And today we add a new chapter. And it's as simple as this. This is a success. What you see above you is a success. We add a new chapter in the success story that is New York City. I congratulate you all. And now, Mark, I was honored to be with you at the groundbreaking. How about we have a ribbon cutting? Come on up, everyone who's a part of the ribbon cutting.
Ladies and gentlemen, to join Mark and Mayor de Blasio, we'd like to invite Andrew Mathias and all the speakers today to please come up for our ribbon cutting ceremony. And ladies and gentlemen, we ask you, you'll find a tube on your table with a little surprise in it. Follow the directions, and on our ribbon cutting, please pop away.
That may not wait for this and go, yeah. What you see, your lights are clear.
Get it going. Just, it doesn't matter, you know, just bring whatever you, we can figure out who's after. One more. Just whatever one you can get. We'll get the job done, right? Yeah, for real. These are not simulated. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I think, you know, we've all said and heard a lot building up to this moment, but this is the grand opening of One Vanderbilt. It's the recovery of New York City. We hope this is the spark that gets this city back up on its feet again and leads by example. And for the people associated with this project and everybody you've heard today, we're going to wait for one more set of scissors. May the building last 1,000 years.
Amen.
Amen.
We got to turn it this
Let's
way.
go.
Here we got so people can
Ready?
see it.
One.
Ready, everybody?
2, 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand opening of One Vanderbilt. Please, at this time, we ask everybody to join us in our transit hall. If we could ask everybody to join us in our